The Opus, an exploration of legendary records and their ongoing legacy. Not just the history, but how this music continues to evolve, shaping lives, shaking rafters, and ingraining itself into our culture. We're opening the vault on a recent classic records re-release, delving into its inner workings and lasting impact. Maybe you're a longtime fan who wants to go deeper. Maybe you're a first-time listener and you're curious to hear more. Either way, you're in the right place. Find us at Consequence of Sound, iTunes, or wherever you tune into podcasts.
Consequence Podcast Network.
Welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith With. It's an audio interview series presented by WFPK Independent Louisville at WFPK.org. Consequence of Sound and the Consequence Podcast Network. Take a second before we get started here to hit the subscribe button that's in front of you. Whether you're listening on YouTube, checking us out on Spotify, or grabbing it wherever you get your podcasts from, you can subscribe on all of those places. Keep up with all the interviews that we put out every single week here. I'm Kyle Meredith. Today, my guest, Tash Sultana. She has had an enormous last year and a half, thanks to her debut EP, and then the debut album Flow State that arrived earlier this year. We're going to talk about her unique style of guitar playing, where that come from, traveling the world, and how that affected the LP, the way she paints a mood in her songs. And we'll also get into some of those songs like Salvation, Murder to the Mind, Cigarettes, a lot of talk about ego on this interview. Tash also gives us some hints on when we can expect another record and what it's going to sound like, too. It's Kyle Meredith with Tash Sultana.
Hello.
We talked for the first time in September of last year when everything was just starting. So what a difference a year makes.
It's been a weird one.
Is that how you would classify it? Is weird?
Well, it's weird in the sense that, like, I don't feel any different, but everyone around me has started acting a little bit more different towards me. It's really strange because I'm still the same person, but all of a sudden, everyone that I went to school with 10 or 15 years ago is keen on being my mate now. That's strange.
I think I should probably say congratulations because that's definitely one of the marks of success from what I'm told.
Yeah.
Well, in all seriousness, congratulations on Flow States. Coming off that EP, and everybody's always curious when any artist kind of arrives in that fashion with all that attention, what the follow-up's going to be like. And you knocked it out. It's a fantastic record. Thanks.
I reckon the second one's going to be better though.
I hope so. I mean, I think every artist wants that as well. So we'll start there. Having that EP. And I guess more so having spent all the time on the road while that was going on. Did that have any different effect towards how you approached, a Flow State once you really got going on it?
Well, all of the songs that are on Flow State, I've been cooking them up in the oven for a long time. So really, I didn't find it too difficult to come up with the album because it was already written. It had written itself over all these years because I'd only ever done an EP before that. So, I had like 4 to 6 songs that had been officially released. And then the album is 13. And then some of those, I'd never recorded, but I'd been playing for years. And then some of them I wrote and then used. And then I've not stopped writing music since then. So I've got probably maybe about 7 or 8 songs that I've written or new that I'm going to start recording. I just want to record this like really big catalogue of music. And then when it comes to re-recording things properly, like that aren't, demoed or kind of all that stuff, then I reckon the second album would be better because I've got more time now. I understand the time that it took for the first one, so now I understand what I'm going to do differently for the second.
I mean, you're miles ahead of the usual sophomore album story when an artist feels like they don't have time and it's rushed and they don't have the songs in the catalog. I mean, that you're even, where you are, that's commendable.
Pretty much the record labels go, you're in this for a 2-album deal. If you want more, you can have more. Each album's got to be at least 45 minutes, mate. One of my songs is about 45 minutes long anyway, so it's easy.
That's a way to do it. That's a great way to Get
It's
the
easy. But I don't have producers in my ear telling me that I need to be going a certain direction and all of that because I produce everything on my own. And like, I want to collab with people in the future and do different projects. But I'm going to do one more, just me, and then after that, do something different, I reckon.
One of the things I do love about your songs is the mood that gets painted in there. And I was curious about the importance of painting that mood, if it feels like it's ever more important than maybe the story that you're trying to also convey in the lyrics.
I'm really soundscapey, so lyrics usually come second to me. It's usually the instrumentation and all of that first, and then the lyrics fit in somewhere.
But soundscapey is kind of the perfect way to say that. I mean, ethereal sometimes even.
I just like to let the music do the thing.
Your past has been talked about a lot, how you got started and all that. Where did your style of guitar playing, did that come from any one place, or was that, built out of, because there is sort of a jam quality, but I wouldn't call you jam music exactly.
I jam. It's all one big jam, really. I don't know. I like a lot of different style of guitar players, but I'm also at this point right now where I'm like self-doubting my abilities as a guitarist because I think that I should be much better than where I am right now. So I'm going to get studying when I get home because like the level, I think most artists experience this, the inadequacy kind of thing after you've done a big project and you're kind of like, all right, well, I've done that. So what am I doing now? And, fuck, that guy's so much better on the guitar than me. What the fuck? I need to go and practice.
It's incredible though, because when I listen to the record, I mean those solos at the end of like Big Smoke and Cigarettes, those are monsters. And I know that's we're just talking about soloing here, and I think you're talking about the big picture of guitar playing. But that's if that was the only thing on the record, I would already be impressed.
I want to, guitar's like my first bass kind of thing for me. And I feel like when you're in the road, you don't do new things. You kind of just relaying all the stuff that you've already done, and it doesn't give you like a massive leeway to experiment. Well, for me, I'm talking in my perspective of how I function on the road. And, I need to work on some shit, hey? Like,
anything specific that you're looking to try to, push forward on that?
The whole picture. Yeah. The whole picture. Like, getting my percussion up to like, I want to get more experimental and like get it really tight and just get everything, take a big step up. You just have to have that drive because as soon as you start thinking that you are the best, well, you're not.
That's actually a perfect seg right there. A few of the songs I wanted to ask about, Murder to the Mind, starting with that. You're talking about that, and it brings to mind ego, and I think I heard you talk about that one time, that the song is sort of a murder of the ego and starting over.
You just learn that when you grow up, like the mindset that you have when you're like 18 and 19, like teenager kind of thing. You think you are not going to die and that you are the best or whatever you're thinking, but it's not. Like, you only know 19 or 18 or 19 years of information as opposed to 25, 30, 40 years of information. And as soon as you start neglecting knowledge, you become dumb and ignorant because you don't know everything and you never will. And there's like a whole abundance of all these beautiful resources to learn new things to be better in, like, as an artist or as a person, if you do it, if you accept the fact that you're not at that level and that you need to practice.
I mean, even acknowledging that, being aware of that, that's impressive too. It comes back up on Cigarettes, and I guess that's why I centered in on those too, because the subject of ego returns. That it's only in one line. You're not going to be the one to mold my ego, and I don't know. So that's kind of rattling around there, I guess thematically.
That's kind of in reference to like the success and the people around you that have this view of you. They're not going to mold me into thinking that I'm something that I'm not, whether it is good or bad.
I thought Cigarettes also an interesting metaphor for dependency a lot of times.
Yeah, well, cigarette here and there is nice. Let's not lie.
I don't have a question for this one, but I also want to give you really props on that song Salvation. I think it's one of the best damn singles of 2018. I mean, I really hope
Thanks.
That's a classic,
Thanks. I worked really hard on that song, actually. I started that song over so many fucking times.
Do you keep the old versions of a lot of those songs? Are there demos
Yeah,
sitting around?
Yeah, they are.
Is that something you're ever going to let the world hear?
Probably not.
I don't blame you. I don't. It's pretty amazing. And then, the way these come live, because they're different. And I think, as you've said many times, they're sort of meant to be different. And what I also appreciate is you're doing something that a lot of people aren't doing. While a lot of people are trying to get to the hook faster, you're injecting patience into it. It's almost like a challenge to your listeners.
Well, it's about the performance. And, it's patience, because it's looping requires patience. And it also requires, a massive dissection of knowledge. So, when I record something in the studio, every time I hear a song, whether it's somebody else's or mine, I always think, how can I loop that? How can I loop it? And you either simplifying things with less is more, or you're overcomplicating things to add where things aren't. And it's about the patience. It's about, I can do this and create all this amount of sound on my own. But I also can play with a band as well if I want to. So I'm going to do different projects down the line, but the project at the moment is to see how far I can take this just the way that it is. And it's exceeded what I thought that it was going to be honest. And you're pulling quite a few thousand, I'm pulling quite a few thousand people to a show every night, and people have patience. People don't have patience in this world because there's this abundance of information everywhere that you can access instantly, and there is no patience. And I like to bring the patience back. You don't have to get to the chorus in 20 seconds or 30 seconds, I don't think. Or you don't even have to have a chorus. You can have a song that's 7 minutes long, or you can have one that's 1 minute long. I don't know. I don't have a commercial standard of writing. I'm not trying to inject myself into a mainstream media or point of view. That 3 minute, 30-second song that's got the hook, line, and sinker. I don't care for that.
Yeah, you proved that it works too. That you can survive just fine off of that.
Well, lots of other people also do as well. The music that I listen to is not mainstream pop music and that type of scenario that's taken the world by storm kind of thing. I listen to a lot of music that requires patience, really.
Well, I love how it turns out. I'm really interested to see where it goes to. I mean, hearing you talk about that next record already is really exciting. I do understand that we'll probably still have to wait a little while. I mean, I hope you get a break at some points, that you get to just chill out for a second.
I'm about to have a break. This is the last run before I have 5 months off.
Yeah, no, that's good.
I don't know what I'm going to do with that time off. It's just so much.
Binge watch something. I don't know. It's
no. Surf. I don't watch the TV.
Not your style.
No.
Well, Tash, I really do love Flow State. I'm looking forward to hearing the next one too. And congratulations on this one. And thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me about it.
Thanks. Catch you later.
And my thanks to Tash Sultana for the call. Her new record is called Flow State. It is available now. If you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button before we get out of here. Whether you're checking us out on YouTube, on Spotify, or downloading wherever you get your favorite podcasts from, you can subscribe in all of those places. After that, head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show every Monday through Thursday from noon to 3 Eastern, and where you can also find some bonus episodes of this series. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.
Consequence Podcast Network.